Happy New Year to you. Happy 2025. I'm coming to you from our North Carolina office. So it's a little bit colder than where I usually shoot from in Tampa. And I know New York is getting pummeled with snow. So we'll see how things go up there. I'm supposed to be there Thursday, so we'll see if that trip keeps on. So first off, let's talk about 2024 and recap. It was a wonderful year broadly for the stock market, but not all investments had banner years. There were some stocks that were down 50+%. Boeing, Lululemon, Starbucks, Nike, Walgreens, a lot of blue chip companies had very, very difficult years. In fact, most of the gains from the stock market were concentrated to the Magnificent Seven. NVIDIA, Facebook, Amazon, Google, names that we've talked about all year and that we've heard about a lot. So the trend did not change too much from what we had been seeing during 2023 and beyond. In fact, one thing that was really interesting is after a terrible 2022 and an okay 23, the bond market really didn't move a lot at all. So the bond market was only up about 1%. So I think the bond market should have a better 2025, but we'll mostly focus on the stock market here. So going into a new year, we always have an optimistic perspective. The stock market tends to go up about 75% of calendar years. So starting out, we are always going to have a relatively upbeat perspective and work backwards from there. Are the conditions good or bad? And let's update accordingly. This year specifically, earnings should be growing about 15%. So really banner growth, almost double what we've experienced recently, and that should propel the market higher. Of course, we're going to have to look out for the Federal Reserve. Some of the temper tantrum in the market during December of 24 was that the Federal Reserve came out and said, hey, we might only have 2 rate cuts while the market was expecting 4. So certainly watch the Fed quite a bit. Make sure to watch these earnings reports and make sure that they are as positive as we've indicated. If those things take care of themselves, we should see a higher market. That said, let's expect more volatility. We are going to have a new administration and change in Washington, and the new policy should be broadly good for the stock market. But I think there's going to be a lot of chop. 1 or 2 negative tweets could send the market up, down, or sideways. So expect chop, expect volatility. One thing I'm looking out for this year is that we might rotate in the market away from these large cap growth names, specifically the Magnificent Seven, who are hugely concentrated. I think there might be dollars going into bonds. I think there might be dollars going into value stocks, and I think there might be dollars going into small cap stocks. So, make sure that you're properly allocated. If you had a big position in NVIDIA and Amazon and Facebook going into 2023, you are largely if you've kept all those gains, you're probably pretty imbalanced. So make sure your individual stock securities are not going to take down your portfolio. Make sure your allocation is balanced relative to your goals. So make sure you've built that financial plan. Make sure your asset allocation is appropriate, because 90% of your return is going to be predicated on what your asset allocation is. And then finally, stay invested. Looking forward, I don't know what will happen. I don't have a crystal ball, but more than likely, we're going to have 3 to 5% corrections during 2025. Those happen very frequently. A 10% correction happens once a year. So very likely that could happen this year. And 20% corrections happen every few years. So look at those less like a crisis. Look at them as buying opportunities, especially if you're not drawing on your account. If you're not over your skis, those might very well be good opportunities to further your investments and to take advantage of what the markets give you. And we're think back to Warren Buffett's adage, be greedy while others are fearful and fearful while others are greedy. So looking forward to a great 2025, and just let me know if you have any questions.